In this video tutorial, we're going to talk about preparing for parenthood as part of social studies. Stay tuned. Now we talk about some questions that I would like you to take down and answer as we come to the end of this session. So write the questions on your paper and answer as you take your notes or answer at the very end. So the first question is list reasons people give for wanting to become parents. Second, list reasons couples give for not choosing parenthood. And list the aspects of parenting couples might want to consider before having a child. Next, why is parenting an energy depleting role? And 6, differentiate between the direct cause and indirect cause of raising a child. So pause the video and take these questions down and let's get started. So we also have some discussion questions. This was naturally supposed to be for a class-based session where people are present, but seeing that we have to record everything, I would like you to take the questions down and answer them at the end of the lesson. So number 1, if you were asked to explain why you want to have children, what would you say? Number 2, what sort of person do you think makes a good parent and what sort of person do you think makes a bad parent? Hypothetically, do you think there is a need for our society to require parents to earn a parenting license before having a child? Do you think that you will pass the test? How might a person's own youth be a factor to consider before giving him or her a parenting license? What other factors would you consider if you were issuing the licenses? So take these questions down and keep them for answering in short responses. So choosing whether or not to be a parent. First, the decision to be a parent is a permanent choice. You cannot wake up one day and not be a mother. I mean, there are people who do it, but they left their children are usually abandoned. So it's a permanent choice. Second, a decision not to parent is also not a permanent choice. I could decide that this year I don't want to become a parent, but next year I might be able to because of financial reasons, job, personal reasons, etc. There are 15 safe years for childbearing, and this is between 20 to 35. So not because a woman is of 20 years of age means she must get pregnant immediately and make a baby. She has between 20 to 35 years of age to have a safe delivery. Anything over 35 is risky and anything over 40 is riskier. Continuing. Reasons for choosing parenthood. There are many reasons for choosing to be a parent. Maybe we want to share our love and time with a child. Wouldn't it be nice to have a cute little baby? Our parents want grandchildren. Our child needs a sibling, so maybe you have one child in the family and they're bored, they want a child, they want a baby to play with, that's usually the case. A child can make us proud. Children grow up to be someone who can make us proud. A child will comfort us in our old age. There's a hope that when your children grow older and you are in your old age, you get the support from them in terms of hand and help around the place and maybe completing chores that you may not be able to do. A child will make us love each other. So there are people who are in toxic relationships or bad relationships and felt they need to have a child. And they're under the impression that this child will make love happen between them. This is not the case, but this is a reason people say. Another reason that I would like you to make note of is for inheritance purposes. A lot of people who don't have children tend to have children even at the late stages of their life for inheritance purposes. Maybe this person has a lot of assets, cars, houses, land, etc. And it will be very unfortunate that this goes to the state, right? If you die. So having a child could take on responsibilities of handling assets after the person died and passed them down, or it can be like a next generation of a business that is in the family, right? Where assets and businesses are passed down to the younger generation. So this is what these are the main reasons why people want to have children, right? So pause the video and take them down. Continuing. Reasons for not choosing parenthood. Maybe people choose not to be a parent because they're not ready for a child. With a child comes responsibility. And with a child, it's not only responsibility, but it costs a lot of money. A child tends to tie people down. So if you're this free-spirited person who always going out, somebody who are custom liming, as we call it, having a child will mean you have to stay now where Saturday night you go out and party with your friends. Saturday night is now for you to sit down and watch a Disney movie with your child or help with homework, okay? A child will interfere with our careers. There are a lot of people working as doctors and lawyers and engineers who find that they are not able with a child because one, if they do have a child, they're going to have to stop working. Or two, if they do have a child, it means that they are not going to see the child because the career is so demanding. And then people need their careers for their sustenance, right? So a child can interfere with that. Imagine you're an engineer working 6 months offshore and you come back home every 6 months. So every 6 months, only 6 months for the year you're spending with your child. You leave a child at 6 months as a baby. He comes back, your child is a year. You leave a child again, comes back, the child is almost 2 years, right? This could be a very, not bad thing, but unfortunate thing for being a parent. Our child could be sick or have a disability. So there are some people who fear having a child because the child could come out disabled for one reason or the other. A marriage could fail and I don't want to be a single parent. So these are thoughts that goes on in people's mind. What if I have a baby and I'm not sure about my partner and then, I want to give up and just throw it away because the marriage is not working and the child will be in the middle of it and then I turn out to be a single parent. This is usually the case in society, but this is also a thought of people not choosing to be parents. Continuing. Aspects of parenting. Parenting, as they say here, is a rewarding and difficult task. Many people invest more money, time, and emotion in their children than they do in their own life. So sometimes when you have children, you give up a lot for them. So let's say your son has to go to an expensive college in the United States. You give up buying your car or your whole life savings just to send that one child to college, right? Most parents are in the hope that their children will have the opportunities that they did not have. And you cannot blame your parents for this. Some parents didn't grow up with all the fancy things that we may have now. Some parents face hard times while growing up. And the reason why they push their kids so much, maybe to study, to go to school, to take them seriously, is because they don't want a replica of what they were, right? They want their children to be better. And you will see this. There are a lot of people who didn't go to school, like the older generation, never went to school, never really make it in life. But the one thing they do was force effort into raising their children. And their children is what came out to be the top everything in society because they had parents who pushed behind them, right? So it's not because they can't read, write, or literate enough doesn't mean they cannot raise a child. They might raise their child better than anybody else because they have the most time to say about their child, or they will know what struggle life is at one point, so they will push their children to do better. Before having a child, a couple must seriously consider and discuss all aspects of parenting. This is very important. For example, punishment mechanism. Next thing you know, you and your husband or wife have a child, and your aspect of punishment is to scold or beat, and your husband or wife aspect of parenting or handling behavioral issues is to time out or to do chores, right? So you need to be on the same playing field before you raise a child. One thing to note about parenting is that the birth or adoption of a child instantly makes you a parent. Once you have a child or you choose to adopt a child, you take on the responsibility of a parent. Parenting skills are not automatic. A person may be biologically reproduced, but that does not necessarily mean he or she will be a good parent, right? So parenting skill is something we develop as we grow and have children, right? There are people who are parents and able to reproduce and make 10 children, but they are not good parents. One aspect of parenting that we have to follow is maturity. So one factor that ensure that we are ready to be parents is maturity. Regardless of age, a person who may be biologically capable of conceiving a child may not have the maturity to become a parent. Parent is not just conceiving and delivering a baby. Parenting comes with a lot of stress related issues, right? What if your child has a behavioral disorder and you don't know how to manage it? What if your child have a learning disability? What if your child is disabled? Are you mentally capable and mature enough to handle this? Or what if there are some people who have children and their needs are totally off course. So they will spend money to buy their child the most expensive shoes rather than something like books that they need for school. This is where maturity comes in. A mature person will always put needs first rather than wants. There's a special type of maturity needed for parenting. Erickson, who is a famous, not really famous, but a scholar dealing with parenting, a psychiatrist, felt that teen and young adults are not best suited for parenting. Because why? Teens need to explore their sense of independence and develop a sense of self, and young adults need time to find out what is important to them and what sort of person they would still like to be. People in their early 20s are not sure what their life are going to look like. Now, I'm not saying people in their early 20s cannot have children and be mature and raise their children to suit, right? I know people that have their babies in their early 20s. I had a friend had a baby right out of high school, and she was mature enough to handle everything. And now she's a surgical nurse, and her daughter already wrote, I think, CSEC examination, and she's doing a very good job as a mother. So age don't really define maturity at the same time, and at the same time, conceiving a child does not make you a mature parent. Maturity comes with your mental capabilities. There's another aspect of parenting called relationships. And this is important because when a child is born into a network of people and relationships. A child will have a relationship with both side grandparents, aunts and uncles, your friends, etc. Children affect these relationships, and these relationships affect children. So maybe there's a couple, a husband and a wife, who just recently had a baby girl or a baby, for instance, right? No child is accepted in this case. And the husband, who is usually a person to lime and have friends over, right, can no longer do this because there's a baby in the house, right? So it affects the relationship, and also the type of these relationships do affect children. We have cases where children are affected mentally, physically, and sexually based on the relationship they are around, right? True parenting is not a self-centered activity. Once you're a parent, you will not be a bad parent if you accept help from somebody, from your spouse or whatnot. So being self-centered as a parent is not really the case, because parenting, as they say, takes a whole to form a child rather than one person. Here we have the ways children affect relationships and relationship affects children. So children affect relationships. Firstly, couples need to know how their children will change their lives. Children usually do not strengthen a weak marriage. So this thought about I'm going to have a baby and this will save my marriage is nothing. That is not usually the case. If a couple has good relationship both inside and outside of their marriage, then a child will only enrich their lives, right? It wouldn't feel like a stress because you are creating good relationship with the other family members and other friends and relatives that are around you. And relationships that affect children now. Couples can look at their relationship by asking questions about their feeling for others. Good relationship with others are positive for the couple and their possible children. Think about how their relationship with others can affect children, right? So what if you have a child and a relative or family member is not a positive influence for your children? You need to sort out these issues before you become a parent. Management of resources now is another aspect of parenting that need to be taken into consideration. We have resources of time and energy. Consider the current and future demands on time. So imagine you have a job that is so demanding, and then you have children, and then you have other chores to do. This is an energy depleting rule. This is you getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep every day to get everything done. Parenting as such is the most energy depleting role a person will likely encounter, and I could vouch to this. Without energy, parents cannot effectively take care of their children. Now, they can't take care of their children, but I mean, if you happen to run out of energy, no sleep, etc., and this takes a toll on your health, then you won't be able to take care of your children properly. Now we're talking about home care. Home is where you prepare meals, eat, sleep, groom, and store many personal items. Family members and friends gather in the home. Consider how you share tasks and how you feel about the division of duties, right? So these are things to consider before parenting, okay? Finances. Money is a very, 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 very important part of parenting. Finances. Couples must realize that children cost a lot. From birth to 17 years, there are over 245,000 worth of expenses. And this is not in Trinidadian dollars, this is in US dollars. The first year of childbearing is expensive, and expenses grow as a child grows. Some expenses include food, clothing, housing, childcare, education, transport, toys, entertainment, and sports lessons. As your children grow older, and you can ask your parents this, you don't need to tell me, but you can ask your parents, or if you are a parent listening to this, maybe you can ask yourself how you spend your money behind your children, right? From day one, you have to buy them milk and pampers. As they grow, you have to pay for school supplies, right? You might have to pay for a babysitter. As they grow older, it might need the extra lessons. You have to buy more books. As they grow older, they enter high school, more books, more lessons. You might join extracurricular, right? And as they grow older into universities, where more money pitches out, because university is not a cheap thing, okay? It's something that you need to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. And after university now, they might want to get married and ask their input, or they might need a car. You know, expenses never end when you have a child until they are fully grown to take care of themselves. Carefully planning financial resources is important for everyone. And we talk about this in our earlier lesson, that money management in the family is important. This is why they create a budget. Financial planning becomes more important when couples think about children. So that's why you find a lot of people who got laid off from work and is on the breadline are crying and panicking, and there are people to laugh for them. But the mere reason that they have children at home and no money to feed these children is very heartbreaking. Other resources couples may want to consider is childcare. So, what is the best childcare for your child? What is the best preschool, etc.? So, educational program, not just preschool, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Which school your child go to is important because the best schools are usually the private schools or the high-end schools, which cost a lot of money. What park and recreational services are available? What health and medical services are available? What are the youth organizations doing in your community? What are the community outreach program? And how is your religious group facilitating these parents? So all these factors are to consider when having or becoming a parent. So now we move on to parenting roles, responsibilities, and styles. So not all parents will be the same, of course. There are some with different styles, right? So again, we're going to go on to questions, and I want you to take these questions down and answer them at the end of the lesson. So what do parents' role and responsibility mainly involve? What does nurturance mean? Differentiate between guidance and discipline. Describe 3 types of discipline and their effects on children. List and describe 4 parenting styles. Key terms to take home from this lesson is authoritarian, authoritative, character, discipline, guidance, induction, love withdrawal, nurturance, overparenting, permissive, power assertion, and socialize. Parenting roles and responsibilities. Children thrive in nurturing environment. Nurture means to take care of. They learn to become responsible members of a community through socializing by their parents and other family members. So primary socialization is what we say happen at home, right? So when we talk about socialization at home, the family is responsible for the primary aspect of it. So just take a note of that. Primary socialization is when you teach your child the basic needs, the basic things in society, such as manners, you teach them religion, and usually start them off and prepare them for the outside world. Nurturance include emotional and physical nourishment and care given to someone. Physical aspects of child care relates to feeding, dressing, and bathing a child. Intellectual means creating a stimulating environment for learning, and social and emotional needs is helping children feel secure and loved. Okay, so all these fall under nurturance, and this is the emotional and physical nourishment and care given to someone, and it's not just food, it is physical, intellectual, and social, emotional. Parent roles and responsibility in socialization. Now, socialization is the passing on of culture and aspects to children, right? So people are born into a community. Children need to form strong relationship with their parents. Children need a sense of belonging. Parents teach children about the way of life within the group. Each social group may have its own language, beliefs, attitudes, values, rituals, and skills, and this is what is passed on to the children of the family. Another name for a social group is culture. Using the aspects part of a person's culture to socialize is called inculturation. So when children are at home, they tend to learn their culture. So if you're a Hindu, the first thing you might do or learn to do is pray and do the prayers. If you're a Muslim, you learn to pray as well. You learn about your culture. If you're a Christian, your parents might take you to church, they baptize you, and so forth. Children learn most of their cultural values at home, and it's not really even from the parents. Children learn culture from grandparents. Parents also teach their children how to respond in a culturally diverse society. So because you may be a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, and so forth, parents has to teach their children how to tolerate each other in society. We cannot be racist and discriminate against other people. Parents who do not value diversity often believe their group is better than others and that people around them should not interact with one another. And you will find this in the classroom, in the school, at work. There are people of different beliefs. They will never associate with somebody who's not their own. And this is wrong, especially in a multicultural society where everybody is like a big melting pot and living together. Parents' roles and responsibility in terms of guidance and discipline. Guidance includes the words and action parents use to influence their children's behavior. Discipline is the use of methods and techniques to teach children self-control. Through discipline, children learn to act in a way in society that finds acceptable. And punishment are known as consequences for a misdeed. One major goal of guidance and discipline is to build character in children. Character now is the principles and beliefs that guides a person's conduct, action, and manners and define his or her personality and behavior. Some forms of discipline are better than others. Types of discipline are power assertion, love withdrawal, and induction. So power assertion means you might ground your children. Some parents do believe in punishment such as beating. Love withdrawal means you will take away something that they love, right? So you don't want to do your homework, I will take away your Nintendo, I will take away your phone, I'll take away any communication device possible. An induction is exactly what it is. It is basically creating an environment for your children to behave control with induced factors. Power assertion occurs when a parent uses or threatens to use some form of physical punishment or deny privileges. So you have a picture of a mother beating her child. Now, physical punishment to a child is not always wrong. Sometimes it's the best alternative depending on the parent. Okay? Some parents have to threaten their children when dealing with juvenile delinquent children is very, very tasky. Love withdrawal. Parents threaten children with being unloved or suggest some form of parent-child separation. Examples, tell them you will give them away and give them a silent treatment. Now this is very mean. Induction. Induction. Parents discipline their children by reasoning and explaining to them why they should not use certain behaviors. So these are the parents who literally sit and talk to their children about what they did wrong rather than scolding or quarreling, right? Now there are different parenting styles. The parent's own childhood experience, beliefs, and temperament, as well as the temperament of the child, influences parenting style. And what I mean by this is how a person grew up will determine how you will grow up as a child. We have authoritarian style of parenting, and this is the first style in which the main objective is to make children completely obedient, and this is the key word here. They expect children to represent their authority with little or no explanation. So if a mother tells her child, stop it, I'm taking away this from you right now, the child will command to that and listen. So the mother expresses her authority, right? Results of this will be moody, unhappy, aggressive, unfriendly, vulnerable to stress, and trouble getting along with those in authority. Okay? So when we be authoritative towards children, the results could be any one of these. It may not always be a positive result, but once you get the job done of spreading obedience, I guess it's okay. Then we have permissive. Permissive style of parenting give children almost no guidelines or rules. They feel children should make their own decisions about right or wrong. Some permissive parents are also overindulgent, provide everything the child wants. Those children may feel lost. Results of this style is not being self-centered, not self-reliant, impulsive, aggressive or rebellious, and low achieving. Then we have the over-parenting style. Over-parenting can be defined as parenting by controlling every move of the child. Begins in infancy. So if your child roll, you will cover her. If your child ready to walk, you'll hold her. If your child eating something spicy, you will take it away. If your child have homework, you might do the child homework and projects, right? These children may be more self-centered and have a sense of self-entitlement, right? So they believe that they make it in life and we are entitled, right, to particular privileges or benefits. So these children also have, you overparent a child, and at the same time, the child also have that parent wrap around their finger. And the results of this type of parenting is doing the child's homework or project, resolving conflicts with adults and peers without allowing children to try to resolve conflict. So if your child do something wrong in school, before you teach your child to go make amends to the next child in terms of in a civil manner, right? You, the parent, are going to school to clear up what your child did. This discourages being independent. So when you overparent a child and you baby their every need, you're taking away their independence. You're basically cutting off their legs, not in a physical sense, in a metaphorical sense. And when they grow older, they find it difficult. Attending job interviews with their child. There are some parents who reach this level. Their child may now be over the age of 18 and getting a job, and parents attend the jobs, right? I had a parent who actually went to the graduation ball with her son because she is what I consider overparenting. You know, sometimes you need to give your child this level of freedom and independence, and these overparenters, they will try to weasel their way into every aspect of their child life. Because of this, kids do not often achieve, because if the parents do everything for them in terms of their homework and always cover them, then they wouldn't basically do anything on their own, and as such, they will not achieve anything which lead them to be alone, right? Or whatever they have to do alone, they will not achieve it. And as a result of this, the children will stay dependent on parents even as adults. The boomerang generation, some may move back with parents as adults or parental services. Now, this is mainly for American society. In the Caribbean, there are people living with their parents regardless of age. Okay, this is not really a non-preferred thing. Your children are allowed in your home as long as they grow in some cases. The authoritative style of parenting sets rules and allows children some freedom. These parents also use the induction method of discipline. These children learn self-discipline in a positive and encouraging setting. Parenting experts endorse this style. Long-term results for children are most positive. So the authoritative style is where the children know who is the adult, the children know they are children, the children abide by rules, the adults set rules, and sometimes they level the field where decisions are made. So this takes us to the end of this lesson on readiness for parenthood, parenting styles, roles, and responsibilities. I hope you pause the video and make your necessary notes. Read any handouts that supplicate this video tutorial and attempt all questions that I have posted for you. So thank you so much for watching this video tutorial.